Hello YouTube, and welcome to another Explain 11 video. This one is a bit of a special one because this is the eagerly awaited Flight Factor A320 Airbus. It's in EasyJet livery, as you can see. It's not actually being released yet. It's a beta release, and they've only released 2 batches of betas, and I was lucky enough on the last batch to be able to grab this aircraft before it's sold out. I think they put about 200 copies on the second batch, and believe me, they went in a flash. But I was lucky. I managed to grab a copy, and this is it, and it's fabulous. So what we're going to do is just going to have a quick look at the aircraft, and how I would set it up from cold and dark, with a quick look at a few of the nice features that the aircraft has got. As you can see, it looks very nice on the outside. We're at Birmingham Airport, EGBB in the UK, and at stands 74, and this scenery is UK 2000's scenery, which is also very nice. So let's have a look inside the cockpit and see what this aircraft has to offer. Okay, here we are. This is the flight deck of the Flight Factor A320, and as you can see, it's pretty impressive. Now there are a few settings you can alter. The quality of the cockpit textures, etc. I've had to turn them down. I do find this aircraft is a bit heavy on the frames, but they may well improve the performance as they update the aircraft. And as I say, it is a beta still, so there are I don't think there's major problems with it. There are a few niggly bits with it, but all in all it flies really well, and I haven't really had any problems with it, to be honest. So one of the great things about this aircraft, it's got an electronic flight bag there, iPad or whatever you want to call it, and a lot of the things you can set the aircraft up using this piece of equipment here. So let's have a quick look at this. First of all, what we'll do, so we are cold and dark, so we need to put some ground power on. So we press that button there, GPU appears on the display. So what we'll do, we'll have a look at the overhead panel, and if you look in the centre there, you'll see external power, and it's available. It's lit up in green. So we press that button, we've got some power now to the aircraft. Switch the batteries on. What I normally do is put all the fuel pumps on, and you've got some nice noises coming on in the aircraft. Put the nav switch on. We'll tell everybody we've got some power to the aircraft. We can put the seat belts on, so no smoking, and on the emergency lights. Now what I normally do next is to go up to the IRS buttons, which are here, and I'll click those 3 to nav to align the IRSs. But before we do that, we need to just have a look at the iPad here, and just have a look at some settings. The settings button there. If you look at the top right there, you've got an ILS alignment speed time. Now it defaults to 10, I think it is, which is 10 minutes, I believe. So if you want to wait 10 minutes for them to align, you can do. I usually let's get this right. The one times it takes 10 minutes to align. You can make that alignment quicker by clicking on 1 times, 2 times, 5 times, or 10 times. Makes it faster to align the IRSs. So I usually click it on 5, and then go up to the IRS switches and turn them all on. Okay, so having done that, the next thing I usually do is go down to the FMC here, and tell the FMC where they're going to and from, and set some parameters in there. Just before we do that, I wanted to just show you a couple of things with the aircraft. All the displays can pop up, and you can actually move them. If you go down to bottom corner there, and just to that little diamond appears, and you can move this display about, and you can make it bigger, or whatever you want to do with it. Same goes for the engine, all the displays, and even the standby instruments there. I'm not sure of that one. No, that one doesn't. But that's a nice feature. I think even, there we go, trim wheel and throttles pop up. So that's good. Flight Factor have incorporated that into the aircraft, which is a nice feature. So okay, let's go down to the FMC and we'll pop some information into the FMC. I'm going to put some flight information from Birmingham to Dublin, Ireland. I've actually exported a flight plan from EFAS, which is an electronic flight assistant software, and you can download off the org a plug-in to plug into that EFAS, so you can save flight plans directly into this aircraft. Now at the moment, as you can see, the air rack is out of date. You can't update the air rack at the moment with Navigraph. They're working on the update. You can buy a one-off nav data from Aerosoft and use that, but the developers at the moment want the beta testers to stop on this nav data set, so that you know, any problems with report, bugs, etc. We're all on the same nav data, and it makes it easier for them to find out what problems are, or so they say anyway. And while we're just looking at the FMC, this page, you'll notice at the bottom it says license status. If you just go into that there, this is where you would put your license number to activate the aircraft. It's quite straightforward to do that. How to do that? It's a new way of activating the aircraft, which Flight Factor have done. Okay, so let's go back to the INI page now, and we'll pop some information into the FMC, MCDU as it's called in the Airbus. We're going to fly from EGBV to EIDW, Dublin, Ireland. Now, because I've exported a flight plan from EFAS into the Flight Factor aircraft, if I pop that into this top line co-route, it should accept the flight plan and ask us to align the IRSs by pressing that button there. And as you can see, the IRSs are aligned already because I altered the time for it to set. Pop a flight number in. As always with the FMCs, anything in orange you have to put some data in. Just put a number in there, it doesn't really matter. That just said GPS primary, that tells you that GPS is located where you are. The cost index, you can alter that, put what you want in there. I usually fly at 25, and your cruise altitude, which is going to be flight level 180. So we'll just type that in, and it'll tell you the flight level temperature at that flight level. Now the next thing we need to do is to go to the second page on the INI by clicking the right arrow, and we need to enter some zero fuel weight. So what we're going to do now is go back to the EFB. Before we finish off with the MCDU, FMC. We're going to put some passengers and fuel into the aircraft. Let's show you how to do that. Oh, and by the way, this is the panel. You can have low quality, normal or high. I have it on low simply because my system isn't a really top end system, and I would struggle with the frames. I haven't got the reflections on, but I do have the rain effect as normal, and the rain effect in this aircraft is fantastic. Can't show you at the moment, it's not raining at Birmingham, but trust me, it's really good. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go to the service button there and put some fuel in. Now we're going to call the fuel truck, press the call button. Fuel truck's there in blue, means we can put some fuel in. I'm going to put about 5 tons of fuel in, 5,000 kilograms. You can use a slider, or you can just pop your mouse over there and type in the number that you want, and then just press the set button. We can remove that now, fuel trucks, and put some passengers in. Again, press the call button, and you'll see there's some stairs there, and door will be open. Pop some passengers in. We'll put a full load in, 136. Set the set button. You'll notice when we did that the aircraft seemed to rise a little bit. I think that's emulating the weight is altered on the aircraft. So we can remove these stairs now. Cargo. There's 2 buttons that we can press for the cargo, front and rear. And we'll put, I don't know, about 45 kilograms of cargo in, about 4.5 tons of cargo. Set that, and you see the aircraft dip down a bit there because the weight distribution is altered. Remove those. Now what I normally do is click on the performance data, because this is what we need to put into the FMC, to tell the FMC what sort of fuel we've got on board, etc. First thing I want to look at is a zero fuel weight, is 57,235. So if we go back to the FMC, we need to put there 57.2. 57.2. Click that at the top. Now we need to put in next the block fuel. Now you can press this fuel planning button here, but I don't think it calculates what the correct value. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't press that button. I go back to the EFB and I look for this number here, 32.95. No, sorry. That's the next thing on the agenda. Total fuel on board, 5 tons, so it's 5.0. Let's just go back to the FMC and pop that in. 5.0 block fuel, and it will calculate all the extra fuel you've got. Look, 1.4 extra time. And as I say, if you press that other button there, I don't know, it comes up with some weird number. Whether I'm doing it wrong, I don't know. Just while I'm on that electronic flight bag, this figure here, 32.95, we need that figure to calculate the trim settings in the aircraft. Well, 32.95 is almost 33, so we'll call it 33. And what we'll do now, we'll just go down to the pedestal and just arrange the view. 33, if we look on the, this is the centre of gravity. We've got 30 there, 35, so 33 is going to be somewhere about there. And if we move that line across, it's going to be about 0.8 down. So if you remember that number, 0.8 down, just go back to the FMC now and if we click on performance, this is where we need that figure. We're going to use flaps 1, so it'll be flaps 1 stroke DN for down 0.8. Pop that into there, and that will set the trim for us for the takeoff. Flex temperature, it can be complicated to calculate. I usually put 56 in there. There is a way of calculating the flex temperature, as I say, but I just usually put 56 in, and it works fine. Now the V speeds, if you click on the first one at the top, nothing happens. I'm not sure why that is. That's the way it is at the moment in the aircraft. But if you click on VR and V2, they'll put the data in for you, and I usually just put in, if that's 133, I'll put 132 in the V1, and that's the takeoff calculations done. Just need to go to flight plan now and put in the details for the runway we're going to use and the departure we're going to use for the departure from Birmingham. Okay, so we'll click on EGBB at the top. You notice it's got 33. I think when I exported the flight plan, part of the export was telling it that we're going to take off from 33. So if we click on that, departure, you see 33 is already in there. We are going to use 33 today. So what I need to do, because I need to put the star in, is just change that to 15. Put that temporary in the flight plan, then go back and change it back to 33, and now you can see we've got some seats to choose from. Our first waypoint is TNT, so we'll be using a TNT 4D for this departure. Click on that, temporary in the flight plan. You can check through the flight plan now if you want to see that SIDS looks okay, or just click on it and it's actually in the flight plan now as a green line and not a broken line. Okay, so we've got the flight plan all set up in there now. You can just go back up to the displays and have a look at the route out. You can change the range with obviously with the range on there, and that's our route out today up to TNT and turn that for Babcock. So that's a quick look at programming the MCDU. I could call it FMC, but it's MCDU. It doesn't really matter. We know what it is anyway. Okay, so we'll have a look at starting the engines on the aircraft, which is in the Airbus is quite easy. Before we can do that, we need to pop the APU on. Master switch on. Leave it a few seconds, and then we click the start button, which is just underneath. It comes on in blue, and you can have a look just down here. The APU generator, the flaps open, and it'll start to spool up. So that's the APU starting up now. Once it's up and running, this will change to available. Takes a few minutes. When it does come up to available, we can turn up the external power, put the APU bleed on. There's the available light. APU bleed on. The packs will automatically switch from fault to on. That's the left pack, and the right pack will do the same thing as well in a few seconds. There it goes. So we can now turn off the external power. We don't need that now. It's still available because we've still got the GPU connected there. So turn that off as well, because we don't need that. We've got a checklist here we can run through. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to just going to run through the procedure, the easy way to start it up and get the aircraft running, but you can use that checklist obviously if you want to. Okay, so we've got the APU on there, the bleed's on. We should be able to start the engine, so we'll pop the beacon on and we'll just go down to the pedestal there, and we need to switch the start switch to the right so that we can start the engines. We'll start engine 2 first, so we'll click the starter button forward, and as you can see there, we've got some N2 numbers there, and you'll see in a bit this gauge will start to rise, and when it's up and running properly it will say available. It's when it gets to about 20 I think normally, so we'll just wait for that. There's the available, so we can now start engine 1. Same thing, the master switch forward, and you'll see engine 1 starting to spin up. So it's dead easy to start the Airbus up. There's not a lot to it at all. Actually, there's no white lights on the overhead panel. Which I can't see any at the moment. No, that's okay, that's fine. As long as there are no white lights on, everything's okay. We should get available come up on engine 1 shortly. While we're just waiting for that, we'll just alter the Q&H. I like to have it on I'm not on there, Q&A, that's it, 1013, 993 at the minute, that's Plasms or whatever this is, 993. We've got both engines online now, and we can put our altitudes in. We're going to go to 180 or something like that. It depends if you've got any restrictions on the SID out, and that's about it. So we got the aircraft up and running from cold and dark. Turn that back off now, and we don't need the APU now, so we can turn off the APU, and then we can get the pushback truck to push us back. It comes with better pushback. It works really well with this aircraft, and as I say, it hasn't been released yet, but I don't think it's very far off now, and if you can get your hands on this aircraft, I would recommend it. It's a cracking A320, and the Flight Factor say that although it's not all, or everything's not implemented at the moment, it will be as the time goes on. So thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this bit of an insight into this new aircraft, and we'll see you next time.